Okay, so that's the second part of my toolbox tour. This one should be a little bit more interesting, most likely. I hope that my light conditions improved and you can see details more clearly. Again, should you have any questions, please comment. I really enjoyed your previous comments. Um, they're valuable and I didn't expect such a good response. So let's start with screwdrivers that I've got attached to the wall of my tiny workshop. As you can see, majority of them are made by Vera. As I mentioned before, this is my go-to brand of screwdrivers. I've got a few different types of them. I love the green ones. They've got the serrated laser etched tip. I don't know if you can see it clearly. It makes them stick to screws perfectly. They're really good. I used them for a few years now and they never let me down. As you can see, I've got few insulated ones. Whenever I work on some electrical equipment, I trust them a little bit more. I've got one Wiha brand screwdriver. Just out of curiosity, I bought one to compare it to the Vera ones. The quality ones, wise, they're very good. They don't have as good roll reduction, although Vera ones are not great there as well. I can't say anything bad about it at the moment. I use it from time to time. And some electrical screwdrivers. This one is Vera brand, this is non-branded. Sorry. These Vera screwdrivers are the ones that can be hit with hammer. As I said, I try using the tools that are designed for the job. And these ones are very robust. They don't have the serrated or laser edge tips, so they don't stick to screws as firmly as the green ones. However, they're for bigger jobs. They all come with this wall holders that I recently started using, and in my opinion it looks quite good. Now, continuing with screwdrivers, I've got a few more of them. The long ones, again made by Vera. I forgot to mention that Vera ones are extremely comfortable thanks to these handles that are molded to the actual shape of your hand. Yeah, so these ones are just a longer version of the ones that I showed you already. And as you can see, these ones do not have the laser edge tip. I've got 3 of them. Oh, I like one more feature about these screwdrivers, which is the labeling on the handle. I can easily see which one is the one that I need. Now, I recently bought these 2 screwdrivers made by Vessel. They're made in Japan. I like experimenting with brands that are not very common. Vessel brand is very specific. It's well, they're not too expensive. You can buy them on Amazon for, I think, £10 or something like that. Now, there are small differences between them too. This one here has serrated tip. It's perfect for, again, for damaged screws. This knurling handle that allows you to hold to it a little bit stronger. And this one cannot be hit by a hammer, but this one can. What's more, it's not only impact resistant, but also apparently, well, at least that's what manufacturer says. They turn while you hit it, so it's like a impact screwdriver. Quality-wise, they're excellent. I can honestly recommend them. As you can see, I always have Sharpie displayed. Now, this toolbox is probably made in China, although branded locally with a local manufacturer, and it's really good. It's not too big. It's, well, as you can see, I have my tools everywhere, so I was not able to fit all of them inside, which would be perfect situation, maybe with exception of screwdrivers. But it's good enough, so it fits quite a lot of tools. It is made well. It's comfortable, and you will see that drawers come out quite easily. Okay, you saw this magnetic plates before. I've got 2 of them, and they're really strong. I mentioned in my previous video that I've got 2 silicone guns. They're both Power Pro. They're quite cheap. I think you can even get them for about 8 to 10 pounds on Amazon. All right. Now, wrenches. So these are the brake line wrenches, or as British call them, spanners. They're made by Bergen. Well, made, it's said a little bit too much because it's an importer. It's just rebranded. Probably you can buy exactly same looking from different brands like Nielsen or other. I have to admit that the quality is not too bad. The finish is very good, definitely. I haven't had any problems with the resistance to impact, and if you look at the stamping, it's quite deep. So yeah, they are quite good and very affordable. Then I've got this long wrenches by Nielsen. Again, this is just an import, just a name of one of the importers. They're all from vanadium wrenches. They're very good. They can reach very deep. It's 0 offset spanner, so they will not require a lot of space to get to the nut. I can recommend them. They're really robust, and again affordable. Now the next ones are Vera Joker spanners that are very interesting wrenches with open and ratcheting end. They are high quality wrenches. I would say they're for very specific jobs. They're not as you can see, they're not as narrow as regular ones. I find them useful, especially in situations when you have to get somewhere without being able to hold the nut with your other hand. You can position it into this open end the way that it will stay there without holding. So it's good like that. Obviously the material is perfect. I'm not sure, but I think it's from molybdenum that is even better material than from vanadium. These ones were quite expensive. That was a birthday gift for myself. Now some cheaper brands, JCB, which obviously is probably rebranded Taiwanese or Chinese manufacturer of wrenches. And then the set of spanners that always make me laugh, which is King Dick, made in England. Now, I heard about this brand years ago, and I decided that I want to have a set of them, more for laugh than anything else, because as you can see, I've got enough of spanners in my set. I expected a little bit more, to be honest. I heard that was high quality manufacture. Well, I cannot assess how robust they are comparing to other spanners, but I can tell that the finish is not as good as some other brands that I had or I have. The stamping is not extremely deep. In some cases you can see that it's almost fading. And when you measure the open end, the differences are more random between different places, and they're not as close to the actual size as, let's say, Vera brand or even JCB. Okay, so that's what I've got on my walls. Now what I've got in my toolbox. Starting with sockets and ratcheting wrenches. This one here is a swivel head Brit tool, or expert as Americans know it, ratcheting wrench. I believe it's 72 or 80 teeth. It has release button and rubber handle. I find it extremely useful. This one is half inch drive. I find it extremely useful. I used it for some brake jobs, and it can reach really deep in different angles. And it's really strong. Everything works well. I have no complaints about it. And I've got some very cheap breaker bar here, which is also a half-inch drive. It was something like £5 or something like that. Then I've got a 3/8 drive, swivel head, short Vera ratcheting wrench. Then Tecton 1/4 inch ratcheting wrench with release button. It is covered with composite. It's good, excellent for cold weather. So get cold. This is another cheap brand that I wanted to try. It's Sealey, but no, the brand is called Sealey, but it's just an importer of Chinese tools, so you can probably find exactly same tool branded by other companies. Again, this is swivel head but locking with release button and with extended handle, and it's 3/8 of course. Now, as you can hear, there is some play there, so it doesn't show extremely high quality, but I thought that I may find it useful one day. Then I've got plenty of sockets. This one are a deep half-inch metric, of course. All my sockets are metric. Again, made by Bergen, which is one of these cheaper brands. But I don't think I need anything more for impact sockets for my needs. And then I've got Draper Expert Deep 3/8 6-point. Then I've got this universal sockets, again 6 points, made by Bergen. They are very useful. Deep 12-point half-inch sockets by Draper Expert. Now, if you buy any draper tools, I recommend the Expert line, which are higher quality. I would not buy any other draper tools than Draper Expert. Then I've got some reverse Torx, again Expert brand sockets, and finally regular 1/2 inch 6-point sockets by Expert, or as it used to be called, Brito. Very good finish, very good performance. I believe that in US it's sold to, as part of Matco or Mac tools, and sometimes I hear some doubts about the quality of these tools. From what I can see, although I'm not a technician or mechanic, they're extremely good sockets. Then I've got some extensions made by Draper Expert of different sizes and different lengths, and that's it. Oh, and I've got this swivel impact socket as well, for made by Draper Expert. Okay, some picks and files and some tiny Vera ratcheting wrench, a bit holder. I thought that it's more of a gadget than useful tool. I found it very useful in few situations when I had to put it in extremely confined spaces with some awkward angles. I showed this screwdriver already, so I won't say too much about it. As I said, I can recommend this one. It's again Vera brand. Picks are made by Bergen. They're very strong and very useful. I use this one here, scraper, a lot in all types of jobs. The set is not too expensive, so I think everyone should have set of this. They come as 5 large ones, and this 5 of this, or 4 of these small ones with different angles, different angle tips. Now, these are my precision screwdrivers by Vera. Again, very good quality, excellent quality, and some cheap precision screwdrivers that I take out when I can't find the correct bit of a screwdriver in Vera set. This one has everything, so it's really worth having. Some scissors, some Swiss knives, Lederman, and some cheap one. And then again, Draper Expert set of files. This is magnetic, or the bit that can be used for making tools magnetic or demagnetizing them. And some set of different tweezers that I haven't had the chance to use yet. Obviously, everyone has to have a utility knife. This one is made by Stanley. It's not too bad. I like the fact that it has a inside compartment for extra blades, but I don't like the fact that you cannot retract this blade. It stays always like that. My pliers, or majority of them at least, pliers drawer. Let me just say that Knipex brand is the brand that I respect the most. They're perfect. You won't find anything better in Europe, in my opinion. So I've got quite a few of them. The ones that I always go to or in 95% of the cases when I need a plier, is this one here, which is 8751, sorry, 8751250. They are they're very similar to the regular Cobra ones, but they have longer jaws, and this is extremely useful. I used to have the standard Cobra pliers as well, but I gave them away and I kept this one, and I will keep these ones. I introduced you to the Wiz scissors or cutters already. Then another very useful tool in my toolbox is the Vice Grip or Irwin electrical insulation remover. It's almost perfect. I like the fact that you can regulate how strong the jaws are catching on the insulation, so you can remove the insulation without damaging wires from big range of gauges. The thing I don't like, well, I like it in general, but sometimes I think I should have another one that can catch the cable from the front. Sometimes the cable is very short, it sticks out from the wall or from an equipment a little bit, and it's very difficult to catch it with this tool. But 95% of the situations it works perfectly. Lovely Knipex needle nose pliers. These ones look like Cobras. No, I always thought that they look like Parrot. I haven't had a situation when I needed them. Another set of Knipex pliers that everyone should have are pipe pliers. They are really strong, thanks to the design, of course. These are 8603250, so 25 centimeters long. I use them not only for plumbing situations, but also to straighten some piece of metal, thanks to the fact that they don't have serrated jaws and that they are extremely strong. Obviously some side cutters, cable cutters. I use them from time to time when I install some lighting. They don't squash the cables, they just cut them, so they're quite good. What else? Some other brands that I've got here are Baco and some non-brand. These are Circlip pliers, or a whole set of them, and then I've got a few Fiskars products here as well. Okay, some more wrenches, again made by Brit Tool. They're offset, deep offset wrenches, excellent in certain situations, and the finish is beautiful. They look amazing. A set of cold chisels and punches by Roughneck. Extremely useful, especially these two punches that I use for marking areas. They work on metal, they work on wood, they work on everything. I think sooner or later everyone would find one of them or a few of them very useful. Again, as I said, I'm a big fan of Vera tools. If you want to buy a Vera tool, you probably should start with some screwdrivers or set of green ones, especially, and hex keys. They're so good. So yes, Vera hex keys, everyone should have set of these. I also have a Vera Torx set. Again, very useful, but not as long as the hex key. So when you buy one, it doesn't show clearly enough that this set is almost half as short as the hex key, so be aware of that. A feature missed by most of the people is the fact that it has this magnetizing and demagnetizing bit here that you can use for screwdrivers and everything else. Another set of Vera hex keys. This one I bought for some stainless steel jobs. I have to say that I've got some doubts about how good these are. They are for this is very specialized tool. So you can see it has very short arm here, which is great for confined spaces. However, the fact that they are so precisely cut makes them very difficult to insert into the opening. On the other hand, the long end has a ball end, which is great, but you don't have extremely high leverage because of this short arm that won't allow you to remove nuts that are very strongly attached. Then I've got a few Inbus brand hex keys with T-handle, some Draper hex keys of two different sizes, so imperial and metric. Nothing special, cheap stuff, just in case I need imperial sizes at some point. And one of my favorite ratcheting spanners, made by Baco, with in total 12 different sizes. So you've got two different sizes on each end. They work very smoothly. You can change the direction as well. So I can recommend them, although be aware that the head is quite large, so it won't fit in every area. But they're really good. My fifth drawer contains some hammers, JCB, Estwing, old non-branded. This very specialized hammer that ends with this plastic bit as well as copper. For jobs that require soft hit rather than hard hit. They're made by Thor, extremely robust. I use them few times only, and in some situations they're very valuable. I introduced this hammer already, made by Draper Expert. It's a tack hammer. It is the hammer that I reach for in most situations that I've got a house. When I don't require force, I require precision. Some tools for removing car panels. I haven't used them yet, so I can't say too much about them. And clamps or corner clamps made by Wolfcraft. Now, I've got two sets of backhoe sockets. This one is 1/4 inch drive, 6 point short and long, with some bits and short extension. And this one is mostly 3/8. Okay, and as you can see, I forgot to clean them recently. Very useful, very good quality. I don't think it's as good as Snap-on. Price-wise, much cheaper. As you've noticed, I don't own any Snap-on tool. They're expensive in general, in Europe even more expensive. So I don't own one yet. I would like to have one just for the sake of it, but maybe in future. This is a drawer that contains a lot of measuring things as well as drilling. So you can see a lot of bits, most of them made by Bosch, and sometimes some others like Makita, Hitachi. Okay, and measuring like multimeter, FLIR one, the infrared camera, caliper, digital caliper, some small scales for weights under 500 grams. I've got some Irwin brands drill bits. For woodwork mostly. And some other equipment like this slide measuring tool, like some tape measures and stuff like that. Oh, and the Bosch made laser measuring tool. Contains few more hammers. This one is for whenever you use chisels. So it's made of wood. It's Draper Expert brand. As you can see, it looks new because I haven't used it yet. And more often I go for this rubber mallet that is perfect for whole range of jobs. I did all laying laminated floor with it, and it works perfectly. The only problem I had with it is that if you hit anything with it by accident, it leaves black marks. But that's the only problem. Apart from that, I've got this bigger 32 ounce roughneck hammer or ball peen hammer. I've got silly, so imported China-made extensions for impact sockets, and actual impact sockets here. And the short ones, 6 points with half-inch drive. And then some more impact bits. Sorry. Like this hex keys, made by US Pro, which is again a Chinese made tool. And 6-point or star bits made by the same company. Obviously everyone should have some zip ties. I've got quite a lot of them. And sorry if it was a little bit too long. This is my toolbox. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions about any of the tools I showed you, please ask. Thanks again.